Hi, it's Sally-Shakti, your visionary writing guide, and welcome to Tarot and Astrology for Visionary Writers from Monday the 24th to Sunday the 30th of July 2023. And welcome to Leo season. The sun has just moved into Leo yesterday morning, and may this season bring you blessings of creativity, joy, self-expression, that courageous heart shine that supports you to speak your truth with love and to show up and shine as your best and brightest self. As we approach, looking ahead to next week, as we approach Lammas in the Northern Hemisphere and Imbolc in the Southern Hemisphere, we're reaching that period in the Northern Hemisphere of peak fruition, and in the Southern Hemisphere, that time of seed sowing and intention setting. So here in the Northern Hemisphere, we're really seeing the fruit and reaping the harvest of those intentions that we set back in Imbolc on this side of the planet. And we are seeing what fruit those seeds have borne for us. And I've spoken before, I spoke around the time of the summer solstice of this being a time for illuminating what we have been in the process of co-creating, what our intentions and manifestations have brought to fruition in this physical world, be that through our writing, our creative practice, and in our lives. This is not necessarily the time to try to change or alter that path. It's a time to see what we have and celebrate what we've created. We have the energy this week and for the next several weeks of Venus retrograde in Leo. Venus reactivating an eclipse point from, I think, back in 2017, and traveling backwards through this Leo energy as the sun moves forward through Leo. Where they will meet on their journey. Venus retrograde in Leo invites us to reconsider what is important to us, what we love, what we care for, what we value, what we give time and energy to, where our creative energy is going, and how we receive, how open are we to receive. Our as visionary writers and creatives, our creative path can be perhaps a path of outward action, where we make, we create, we do, we alter the material structure of ourselves and our lives and our world and our communities through creating, through creative physical intervention in the material world, whichever form that takes. And yet we're also invited to receive, to listen, to open ourselves up to inspiration and intuition, to be guided, to ask for guidance, wisdom, courage, and protection from those who stand in circle and sit in circle with us and around us, and who are supporting and shaping us on our path. Our past and present and future ancestors who are here with us and calling to us through our dreams and visions and creative practices. This period with both Venus and Chiron retrograde, specifically with Venus retrograde in Leo, is that invitation to ask us to be open to listen and to receive and to co-create with those who are here, guiding us, loving us, illuminating us, supporting us on this journey, as they too want to see us succeed, want to guide us to the other side of this journey, where we are in the process of co-creating the rebirth of new consciousness, new reality through our visionary writing and creative practice. And how much can we open ourselves to listen and be guided and to trust on that path? This period of time calls and invites us into listening, opening, receptivity, and trust, as we also step into co-creativity and alchemize what we've heard, what we've received, what we've seen in our visions and dreams and meditations, in our journaling, as we alchemize that raw material, those raw visions, into new creative pathways in this world, into new forms, new structures, new creative practices and processes that we each are in the process of birthing. And that have an impact. Every new form that we create through our practice, every creative process that we undertake, changes the overall material structure of this world, of our lives, of our reality. We add something, we change something, we make something new, we remake something. Everything that we bring into being, into physical form, that we have received through our open channels, we alchemize it, we bring it into physical form through our practice. It then exists in the world in ways that it had not existed previously. And that creates a new form in the world. It creates a new structure in the world. It creates a new existence in the world. And if you believe, as I do, that we are all connected and that what affects one affects all, then what we do in our creative practice, however large or small, however public or private, is we create new possibilities for a new world to emerge with every process that we engage with. So Leo season with Venus retrograde in Leo is this opportunity, this invitation for us to deepen our own creative alchemy, to listen, to trust, to receive, and to alchemize our visions into form in ways that make and create tangible change for new possibilities in this world and in our reality. And I'd like to invite us back into the energies of last week, which were very strong, very intense. We had the new moon in Cancer, which was activating energy with Pluto opposing the sun and creating a Cardinal Grand Cross with the moon's nodes that had just moved, were just moving into Aries and Libra. And this was an energy of intensity, with Pluto opposing the sun. You may have experienced frustration, disempowerment. And with those squares from the moon's nodes as well, you may have felt very personally and very intensely on a soul level, a real tension between the path that you have been walking up to now and the path that is beginning to emerge on the other side of this Grand Cross energy, because there will have been parts of yourself, parts of the path that are no longer going forward with you. Parts of ourselves, soul contracts, especially with that South Node in Libra, soul contracts around relationships, around our interpersonal connections. With Pluto very active, we have that soul evolutionary energy opposing the sun, the way that we want to shine and show up in this lifetime. What is our deeper soul calling us forward into, with that North Node in Aries that wants to ignite, wants to begin, wants to start itself off on an initiatory journey, initiatory new course? What is our deeper soul calling to us in ways that perhaps in the week just gone may have felt like challenges to the way that we have been doing things, the way that we have believed we would continue to do things up to now? I know for myself, it was my birthday last week, just after the new moon. The new moon, that new moon was conjunct my natal sun. So my natal sun was also very active in this Grand Cross energy, being opposed by Pluto, as it has been being opposed by Pluto for the last 2 years. My partner's birthday, also last week. On the day of, or at the time of the sun, the transiting sun opposing Pluto. So we both had our natal sun very activated by this Pluto opposition specifically. This has been ongoing for us. And then this additional tension of the moon's nodes moving into Aries and Libra to create those squares and that Cardinal Grand Cross. There were days last week when, for my part, certainly, we were unable to communicate. Days when nothing was possible except for myself to feel angry and frustrated and stuck and depressed. And then there were days when it would be one of our birthdays and we would come together and we would celebrate and we would honor each other and we would affirm each other and value each other. We would go and explore the wild landscape where we've been staying recently down in South Devon on the moors at Dartmoor. We would go out and explore the wild landscape, meet the river, the sky, the moss, the rocks. We went down to Eden Project in Cornwall, where there are the biodomes. It's a reclaimed, disused clay pit. And they have built biodomes with rainforest inside them and Mediterranean ecology inside the other one, and living plants and food kitchens and allotments. So we spent time together, we spent time with nature, we spent time in the wildness and the elements. We loved and affirmed each other. And then there would be days in between where we couldn't talk to each other, days where for myself I felt like I had been knocked off my center. I was finding it very, very difficult to connect with my solar plexus. I think that's the Pluto opposition, almost like Pluto kind of putting the lights out. I don't know whether you felt this too during that week. Like Pluto put the lights out of my sun, of my solar energy, my solar plexus, and I couldn't find it. I couldn't access it. I felt completely disempowered in myself. And times as well when my heart felt like a black hole, entirely empty, that I couldn't feel anything. And again, I wonder if this is the role of that new moon in that Cardinal Grand Cross energy, the black of the moon, the dark moon, setting up this energy for that Cardinal Grand Cross, interacting with Pluto, opposing Pluto. Actually, on the day of my birthday, the moon opposed Pluto directly. And whether that was also contributing to this feeling of complete emptiness, complete black hole where my heart should be. This has been an intense week, and you may have felt it too. And that by the end of it, by the end of the week last week, on the last day, yesterday, Sunday, when the sun moved out of Cancer into Leo, we begin to feel the easing of those energies. In fact, just looking at yesterday's astrology, the moon was trining, had come around to trine Pluto. And I think to relieve some of that tension that had been created through that Grand Cross energy. And for ourselves, we were able to look into ourselves and our relationship and really get some deep insights and some deep medicine, some deep healing, which is what Pluto does at a soul level. Removes and takes away what is no longer serving us, those narratives, those beliefs that no longer walk with us. And the sense for myself going forward is that nothing will be the same again, or at least new pathways are opening up in my life that were hitherto unimaginable. And yet here they are presenting themselves, these new possibilities. How will I move forward? How will I nourish and support myself on that journey? Where will it lead me? But do I need to know, and can I allow myself permission to let go and drop in and trust the journey? These are all big and pertinent questions at the moment, and of course, ripe for journaling. I received some guidance yesterday from a dear friend who reads the Akashic records, and I'm being guided to write at night by candlelight and firelight. So I extend that invitation to you too. Because if your soul is feeling anything like my soul is feeling right now, and as we move into Leo season, and as we have Venus retrograde in Leo, and we're being invited into creative self-expression that also enables us to listen and receive and trust and alchemize, we may find ourselves with some deep and big questions to ask, and some deep journaling to do, to open ourselves up to receive that guidance, that wisdom that is always available to us. So I invite you this week, as we have a week of much less intense astrology, to take this opportunity and this invitation to integrate and to process that big energy, that big life change, that life-changing portal that we've just been through with that Cardinal Grand Cross. I invite you to free write by candlelight if you are able to, and to put yourself back there in the center of that Grand Cross, in the center of that crossroads, to sit in the stillness of those four directions. And as you may know, calling in the four directions is a powerful process in your ritual practice that enables the whole of the universe to be present and activated, and to become part of your ritual or creative process. So what happens when we sit ourselves in the middle of that Grand Cross and we call in the four elements, and we recognize that in a Cardinal Grand Cross we had the Sun in Cancer, the water element. We had Pluto in Capricorn, the earth element, and we have the moon's nodes in Libra and Aries, air and fire. So we have all four elements represented in the medicine wheel of that Cardinal Grand Cross. And if we put ourselves back there energetically in our meditation, our journey, our journaling, finding that stillness in the center of the four elements and in the center of those four pathways, those four energies that were impacting on us so intensely last week that perhaps it was too intense to find clarity or wisdom, or to stop and listen. What if we bring ourselves back there now? What if we place ourselves back in the center of that Grand Cross this week? And if that doesn't speak to you, the idea of this Grand Cross, place yourself in the center of a sacred circle with the elements around you, the four elements around you, however that looks and feels for you. You might have a practice of calling in the elements by directions. You might want to create a space where you can physically sit in between four marked out directions with the elements: earth, air, fire, and water. However that looks and feels for you, can you take some time to free write by candlelight, to place yourself in the stillness, in the center of the four elements, the four directions, the four energies of the Cardinal Grand Cross, and to allow your soul to speak to you about the way forward and your journey from here. And here are some enquiries as suggestions for how you might begin that free writing process and practice. What does my soul want me to know? What does my soul want me to know? I think I might even add, what does my soul want me to know now? What does my soul want me to know now? The second one, where does my soul want me to go from here? Where does my soul want me to go from here? And the third one is, how can I find nourishment and support on my journey? How can I find nourishment and support for my journey? So I really encourage you this week, while there's a little more stillness, to go within and to tap into that stillness at your own center. Connect in with the 4 elements in whichever way feels most appropriate or available to you. And free write by candlelight with these 3 prompts as enquiries. What does my soul want me to know now? Where does my soul want me to go from here? And how can I find nourishment and support for my journey? So as ever, I'm wishing you well. Thank you so much for everyone who is getting in touch, leaving comments, finding me on social media at Writing Thriving, and welcoming I'm welcoming all the new subscribers every week. I really value and appreciate your support. It really does help me to keep going with what I'm doing, and invite you also to feel free to share any of your reflections or processes or journaling, or what was your experience? How did you experience the Cardinal Grand Cross last week? Anything that you feel you want to reach out and connect, very welcome. So I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Writing Thriving. You can find me there. You can leave a comment below this video, and I welcome everything and all of who you are. Sending you so much love. See you next time.